Christmas Eve dinner at my parents' house should have been perfect. Candles flickering on the formal dining table, the smell of roasted turkey and cinnamon. 7 of us gathered around the table. My parents, my younger sister Judith, her boyfriend Michael Runner, our family friend Alicia Hamilton, and me. I was cutting into my second helping of glazed ham when Judith set down her fork, flashed that bright smile she uses when she wants something, and looked directly at me. "So, Caroline," she said, her voice sweet as pie, "Mom and Dad told me about your new investment apartment downtown, the one on Pine Street?" I nodded slowly, already sensing where this was going. "My name is Caroline Kyle. I'm 31 years old, and I've worked for everything I have, every single thing. That apartment Judith was talking about? I saved for 6 years to buy it." "Well, I'm moving in next week." She clapped her hands together like she'd just announced a surprise party. "Isn't that amazing?" I watched my mother nod approvingly. My father smiled into his wineglass, like it was already decided, like it was done. No one had asked me, not once. "Mom and Dad talked to the landlord for me," Judith continued, practically bouncing in her seat. "They said I can have the master bedroom since you're not using it anyway. I'm thinking of painting it gray, or maybe beige. What do you think?" I took a slow sip of my wine, set the glass down carefully, smiled. "How thoughtful of you to give me a heads up," I said, my voice perfectly calm. "Tuesday works perfectly for move-in day." Judith beamed. "Oh my God, thank you. I knew you'd understand." 2 o'clock sharp, I added. "Don't be late." "I won't. This is going to be amazing." I smiled wider. "I'll make absolutely sure everything is ready for you." When Judith showed up on Tuesday with her designer luggage and her best friend filming for social media, she found something she absolutely did not expect. But before we get to that, if this story already has you hooked, do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Trust me, you're going to want to see how this plays out. And if you've ever dealt with an entitled family member, drop a comment below. Let's get into it. To understand why that Christmas dinner hit the way it did, you need to know my story, the real story, not the version my parents tell at parties. I'm 31 years old. I'm a marketing director at a tech firm here in Seattle. And I have worked for absolutely everything I have. I got my first job at 15, a coffee shop on Capitol Hill that opened at 5 in the morning. I'd be there at 4:30, prepping pastries and brewing the first pots of the day before school. Minimum wage, burns on my hands from the espresso machine. But it was mine, money I earned. After that came retail, folding clothes for $8 an hour at a mall store where customers would destroy displays I'd just organized. Then I moved to restaurant work, better tips, worse hours. I'd serve tables until midnight on school nights, smile through harassment from drunk customers, split tips with the kitchen staff, and still wake up for my 7 a.m. classes. I put myself through the University of Washington every single semester. My parents didn't contribute a dime. "You're so independent." "Caroline," my mother would say, like it was a personality trait and not a necessity. "You've always been able to handle things on your own." What she meant was, "We're not helping you." I worked 30 hours a week while taking a full course load. I studied marketing because I was good at it and because I knew it could lead to a stable career. I ate ramen 4 nights a week. I wore the same 3 outfits on rotation. I didn't go to parties or football games or do any of the things college students are supposed to do. I worked, I studied, I survived. My graduation was on a Saturday in June. Beautiful day, sun shining. I walked across that stage in a cap and gown I'd rented because I couldn't afford to buy one. I had no family in the audience. My father had a golf tournament. My mother didn't want to drive into the city alone. Judith was too busy. I took a selfie with my diploma, smiled for the camera, went home to my tiny studio apartment, and cried for 2 hours. After college, I landed an entry-level marketing coordinator position, $38,000 a year. It felt like a fortune after years of scraping by. I moved into a studio apartment in a sketchy neighborhood because it was all I could afford. $750 a month, bars on the windows, sirens every night. But it was mine. I kept my head down, worked harder than everyone around me, stayed late, volunteered for projects no one else wanted, learned everything I could, 3 promotions in 6 years, marketing coordinator to marketing specialist to marketing manager to marketing director. My parents didn't acknowledge a single one, not a card, not a phone call, not a "we're proud of you." But when Judith posted an Instagram photo of a latte with the caption, "Coffee dates with myself," my mother commented, "So proud of you for taking time for self-care, sweetheart." At 27, I bought my first property, a small 1-bedroom condo in Ballard. Nothing fancy, 900 square feet, but it was mine. I'd saved for 5 years, $15,000 for the down payment. Every extra dollar went into that savings account. No vacations, no new clothes, no dinners out. I closed on a Tuesday afternoon, signed my name 47 times, got the keys, drove to the condo and sat on the floor of the empty living room eating Thai takeout straight from the container. I called my mother to tell her. "That's nice, dear," she said. "Your father and I are taking Judith to that new Italian place downtown tonight. She's been so stressed lately." Stressed? Judith, who hadn't worked in 6 months. I didn't say anything, just said I had to go and hung up. That condo became my sanctuary. I painted the walls myself, bought furniture piece by piece from IKEA and Facebook Marketplace, made it a home, and I kept saving. Because I had a plan. I wanted to build wealth, real wealth, the kind that comes from smart investments and long-term thinking. I wanted to buy rental properties, build equity, create passive income streams, maybe retire early, maybe buy a house with a yard someday. So I saved aggressively, lived below my means, tracked every expense, put 20% of every paycheck into savings for 6 more years. My 30th birthday came and went. My parents forgot entirely. No call, no text, nothing. Judith posted an Instagram story that day. "Brunch with the girls." My mother commented within minutes, "Have fun, beautiful." I spent my 30th birthday alone in my condo, eating leftover pizza and watching Netflix. I didn't feel sorry for myself anymore. I'd stopped expecting things from them years ago, but it still hurt, quietly, in a way I'd learned to ignore. Then, last fall, I found it. The perfect investment property, a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment in a newly renovated building downtown, 1247 Pine Street, Unit 304, walking distance to Pike Place Market, floor-to-ceiling windows, stainless steel appliances, quartz countertops, in-unit washer and dryer, $350,000. I'd saved $70,000 for the down payment, 20%. My mortgage would be $2,100 a month. Market rate for rent in that building was $3,200 a month. The math was perfect. Rent it out, cover the mortgage, pocket the difference, pay down the principal faster. In 3 years, maybe buy a third property. I closed on December 8th, signed the papers, got the keys. I sat alone in that empty apartment, eating Chinese takeout on the floor, and took a photo of the keys in my hand. I didn't post it on social media. I just wanted to remember the moment. 16 years, from a 15-year-old burning her hands on an espresso machine to a 31-year-old woman who owned 2 properties. I'd done it, all by myself. My sister Judith is 27 years old. She has never held a job for longer than 4 months. Not because she can't, because she doesn't have to. My parents pay for everything. Her car, a $35,000 SUV they bought her for her 25th birthday. I got a card that year. It said, "Happy Birthday" with a generic flower on the front. No money inside, just their signatures. Her rent, $1,800 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment in Fremont. My parents have been paying it for 3 years, plus utilities, plus her car insurance, plus her phone bill. Her credit cards? No limit. She buys designer clothes, gets her nails done every 2 weeks, goes to expensive brunches, and posts it all on Instagram. She has 4,000 followers. Her bio says, "Lifestyle influencer living my best life." Her posts are all the same. Latte art, avocado toast, outfit of the day photos. Sunset shots with captions like, "Grateful for this moment," and "Choosing joy today." The comments are mostly other wannabe influencers saying, "Gorgeous babe," and "Where is that top from?" She calls it her career. My parents call it finding herself. Judith is still figuring things out, my mother would say whenever someone asked what Judith was doing. She's more creative, not corporate like Carolyn. She needs time to discover her passion. Her passion, apparently, required $1,800 a month in rent and unlimited shopping money. Judith dropped out of college. Twice. The first time, she was 19, lasted one semester at the University of Washington before deciding traditional education isn't for creative people. My parents didn't push back. They just stopped paying tuition. The second time, she was 22, tried community college for a business degree, made it 3 months before quitting because the professors didn't understand her vision. After that, she tried yoga instructor training, quit after 2 weeks because the studio had bad energy. Then she started an online boutique, lasted 3 weeks, sold exactly 2 items, both to our mother. Then she decided to be an influencer. That one stuck, probably because it required the least amount of actual work. She posts photos, goes to trendy restaurants, takes selfies, complains about being so busy and so exhausted. Meanwhile, my parents fund the entire lifestyle. When Judith turned 25, they bought her that SUV, brand new, leather seats, backup camera, the works. When I turned 25, I was eating ramen in my studio apartment, trying to save enough for a security deposit on a slightly less sketchy place. When Judith wanted to go to Hawaii, my parents paid for the whole trip. Flights, hotel, everything. They invited her, not me. When I asked my mother about it, she said, "Oh, honey, we figured you'd be too busy with work. You're always so busy." Translation: We didn't think about you. Last year, my mother called me out of nowhere. "Caroline, sweetheart, I need a favor." I should have known. "Judith is really trying to get her life together," she said. "She's looking for a real job now, something in marketing maybe. I was hoping you could introduce her to people at your company, maybe help her get an interview." I took a breath. "Mom, we're not hiring right now, and even if we were, Judith doesn't have any experience." "Well, that's why she needs help. You could put in a good word for her." "I can't just put in a good word for someone with no experience and no degree. That's not how it works. You're her sister. You're supposed to help her." I wanted to scream. I wanted to ask where that energy was when I was working 30 hours a week to put myself through college, when I was living in a sketchy apartment eating ramen, when I was grinding my way up from entry level with no help from anyone. But I didn't. I just said, "I'll let you know if I hear of anything." I never did. Judith's Instagram, meanwhile, continued to be a highlight reel of brunch dates, shopping hauls, and inspirational quotes about manifesting abundance. One post from last summer showed her holding shopping bags from Nordstrom with the caption, "Treating myself because I deserve it." Self-love, treat yourself. My mother commented, "You do deserve it, baby girl. So proud of you." Proud of what? I wanted to ask. Proud that she spent money you gave her? But I didn't. I just kept my head down, kept working, kept saving. Because I knew something they didn't. Hard work pays off. Entitlement doesn't. I spent 6 months looking for the right investment property. I had my criteria: 2 bedrooms minimum, good neighborhood near public transit, newly renovated or well-maintained, priced right for the rental market. I toured dozens of places. Some were too expensive. Some were in bad locations. Some needed too much work. Then, in November, my realtor sent me a listing. 1247 Pine Street, Unit 304. I knew the second I walked in. This was it. The building was newly renovated, secure entry, elevator, on-site management. The unit itself was beautiful, hardwood floors, floor-to-ceiling windows with views toward Pike Place Market, open-concept kitchen with quartz countertops and stainless steel appliances, 2 full bathrooms, in-unit washer and dryer, and the location, downtown Seattle. Walking distance to restaurants, shops, the waterfront. Perfect for young professionals. The asking price was $350,000. I ran the numbers immediately. 20% down, $70,000. I had it. Mortgage, $2,100 a month. Rental market rate for similar units in the building, $3,200 to $3,500 per month. Even at the conservative estimate of $3,200, I'd clear $1,100 a month after the mortgage. That's $13,200 a year in profit. Plus, I'd be building equity. Plus, the property would likely appreciate. In 3 years, if everything went according to plan, I could leverage the equity to buy a third property. I put in an offer that day. It was accepted 2 days later. Closing was set for December 8th. I spent the next few weeks in a state of controlled excitement. I didn't tell many people, didn't post about it. This was mine, my achievement. I wanted to savor it quietly. The closing took 2 hours. I signed document after document. Initial disclosures, reviewed title insurance, transferred funds. When the title officer handed me the keys, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Pride. Pure, uncomplicated pride. I drove straight to the apartment, let myself in, stood in the empty living room and just looked around. 16 years, from a scared 15-year-old making lattes at 4:30 in the morning to a 31-year-old woman holding keys to her second property. I ordered Chinese takeout and ate it sitting on the floor, back against the wall, looking out those floor-to-ceiling windows at the city lights. I took out my phone and snapped a photo of the keys in my hand. Didn't post it anywhere. Just saved it to my camera roll. I wanted to remember this moment, this feeling. I'd done it. All by myself. No help. No handouts. Just years of discipline and sacrifice and hard work. A few days later, I called my mother to talk about Christmas plans. "Are you hosting, or should I bring something?" I asked. "Oh, we're hosting. You can bring wine or dessert, whichever is easier." "Sounds good. Hey, I have some news. I just closed on an investment property downtown, a 2-bedroom near Pike Place." There was a pause. "Oh, that's nice, dear." That's it. "That's nice, dear." Not congratulations. Not "we're so proud of you." Not "tell me about it." Just "that's nice, dear." "Are you bringing red or white wine?" she asked. I felt that familiar ache, the one I'd learned to ignore. "I'll bring both," I said. "Perfect. See you Christmas Eve, 6 o'clock. She hung up. I sat there holding my phone, staring at the blank screen. 16 years of work. $70,000 saved. A major financial milestone. That's nice, dear. I should have known then. Should have seen it coming. But I didn't. I had no idea that in 2 weeks at that Christmas Eve dinner, my parents would try to give my property away. I had no idea that my sister would show up expecting to move in without ever asking me. I had no idea that I was about to draw a line in the sand that would change everything, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go back to that Christmas dinner. Christmas Eve dinner started normally enough. My parents' house was decorated like something out of a magazine. Garland on the staircase. Candles everywhere. A massive tree in the living room with perfectly coordinated ornaments. My mother had gone all out with dinner. Turkey, ham, mashed potatoes, 3 kinds of vegetables, homemade rolls, 2 pies. 7 of us sat around the dining room table. My parents, Donald and Tarina Kyle. My sister Judith and her boyfriend, Michael Runner. Our family friend, Alicia Hamilton, who'd known us since we were kids. And me. Conversation was light. Weather, neighborhood gossip, my father's golf game, my mother's book club. Judith was on her phone half the time, probably checking Instagram. Michael ate silently, nodding whenever someone addressed him. Alicia asked polite questions and complimented the food. I was halfway through my second helping of ham when Judith set down her fork. She had that look, the one she gets when she's about to announce something she thinks is exciting. "So, Caroline," she said, her voice bright and cheerful, "Mom and Dad told me about your new investment apartment downtown, the one on Pine Street." I looked up. Set down my knife. "Yes? Well," she said, clasping her hands together, "I'm moving in next week." The table went quiet for half a second. Then my mother nodded, smiling. It's perfect timing. Judith needs to be somewhere more central for her influencer career. Downtown will give her so many more opportunities for content. My father chimed in. You're doing so well, Caroline. You can afford to help family. It's what we do. I looked at Judith. She was beaming, completely oblivious. I already told my friends, she continued, and I gave notice at my apartment. Well, Mom and Dad's apartment, you know what I mean. She laughed. I'm thinking of painting the master bedroom gray, or maybe beige. What do you think? Alicia Hamilton shifted uncomfortably in her seat. Michael kept eating, eyes on his plate. I took a slow sip of my wine. Set the glass down carefully, dabbed my mouth with my napkin. How thoughtful of you to give me a heads up, I said, my voice calm and even. Tuesday works perfectly for move-in day. Judith's face lit up. Oh my God, thank you. I knew you'd understand. You're the best. 2:00 sharp, I added. Don't be late. I won't. Michael's going to help me move, and Alicia said she'd come film some content for my Instagram. This is going to be so amazing. My mother reached over and squeezed Judith's hand. See? I told you Caroline would be supportive. She knows how important this is for you. My father raised his glass. To family helping family. I raised mine too, smiled. I'll make absolutely sure everything is ready for you, I said, looking directly at Judith. Don't worry about a thing. You're seriously the best sister ever, Judith said. I smiled wider. I try. The conversation moved on. Dessert was served. Coffee was poured. Everyone laughed and talked like nothing significant had just happened. Because to them, nothing had. They'd made a decision, announced it, assumed I'd comply, just like always. Alicia caught my eye once across the table. She looked concerned, like she wanted to say something but didn't know how. I gave her a small smile, a reassuring one. Everything's fine, the smile said, and it was, because I had a plan. I left my parents' house at 9:30, hugged everyone goodbye, wished them Merry Christmas. As soon as I got in my car, I pulled out my phone and opened my notes app. I typed, December 24th, 7:43 p.m. Judith announced she's moving into my property on Tuesday without asking. Parents approved without consulting me. Documented. I saved it, started the car, drove home, and at 11 o'clock that night, I made a phone call. Then I sent some emails. Then I went to bed. Judith spent the next 4 days packing her entire life into boxes. She posted Instagram stories every day. Moving into my dream apartment tomorrow. Hasta new beginnings, downtown life. Siam, blessed. She texted me constantly. Should I bring my ring light or buy a new one? Where should I set up my filming corner? Can Michael stay over on weekends? I responded to every single message. Helpful, supportive, encouraging. Whatever works best for you. Wherever the lighting is good. It's your space. She had no idea. She didn't know about the phone call I'd made Christmas night. She didn't know about the emails I'd sent. She didn't know about the plan that was already in motion. Tuesday was going to be very interesting. I got home at 9:50 p.m., 20-minute drive from my parents' house to my condo in Ballard. The streets were quiet, Christmas lights glowing in windows, families inside, probably watching movies or playing board games. I felt calm, eerily calm. I parked in my spot, went inside, and made a pot of coffee. Strong. I was going to need it. At 11 o'clock, I sat down at my kitchen table with my laptop. Here's the thing. I'd been planning to rent out that apartment from the moment I bought it. That was always the plan. I'd already created a rental listing template weeks ago. Photos were ready. Description was drafted. I just hadn't posted it yet because I wanted to wait until after the holidays. But plans change. I opened the template and made a few adjustments. Stunning 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment in the heart of downtown Seattle. Floor-to-ceiling windows with Pike Place market views, stainless steel appliances, quartz countertops, in-unit washer-dryer, hardwood floors throughout, secure building with elevator and on-site management, walking distance to restaurants, shops, and waterfront, available immediately. I set the rent at $3,100 per month, slightly below market rate. I wanted quality tenants, and I wanted them fast. At midnight, I drove back downtown to the apartment, spent 90 minutes photographing every angle, living room from multiple perspectives, kitchen close-ups, both bedrooms, both bathrooms, the windows, the view, the building exterior, the lobby. I wanted the listing to be perfect. Back home by 1:15 a.m., uploaded the photos, posted the listing on ZillowApartments.com and Craigslist. The timestamp read, December 25th, 1:33 a.m., Merry Christmas. I set up alerts on my phone for all inquiries. Then I finally went to bed. 2 a.m., alarm set for 7. I slept better than I had in weeks. My phone started buzzing at 7 a.m. I rolled over, grabbed it, squinted at the screen. 23 inquiries. Already. I sat up, made coffee, opened my laptop. Christmas morning, and I was screening potential tenants. I spent the entire day responding to messages, asking questions, reviewing applications. I had clear criteria: stable employment, good credit, excellent references, and the ability to move in immediately. Most people couldn't move in right away. They had leases ending in January or February. I needed someone who could move in by the end of the week. By the end of Christmas Day, I'd scheduled 6 showings, 3 on December 26th, 3 on December 27th. Meanwhile, my phone kept lighting up with texts from Judith. Should I paint the bedroom gray or beige? Where should I put my ring light for filming? Can Michael stay over on weekends? I responded to every single one. Whatever makes you comfortable. Wherever the lighting is best. It's your space. She had no idea. The first showing was at 10 a.m. on December 26th. A young couple, both software engineers at Amazon, combined income of $280,000 a year, impeccable credit. They loved the apartment. But they couldn't move in until mid-January. Next. The second showing was at noon. A graduate student, part-time research assistant. His previous landlord said he was the best tenant I ever had. Quiet, respectful, always paid on time. But he also couldn't move in until January 15th. Next. The third showing was at 2 p.m. Tarina Hall. She was 34, a nurse at Swedish Medical Center, worked night shifts in the ICU. She'd been at the hospital for 5 years. Stable, responsible, quiet. She walked through the apartment slowly, taking everything in. This is perfect, she said. I've been looking for 3 months. My current building just sold, and the new owners are converting it to condos. I have to be out by the end of the month. When would you need to move in? I asked. As soon as possible. Ideally this week. I tried not to smile. Can I ask about your income and credit? I make $78,000 a year. My credit score is 792. I can provide pay stubs, references from my current landlord, and a reference from my supervisor at the hospital. That sounds great. Let me run a background check and contact your references. I'll get back to you by tomorrow evening. She shook my hand. Thank you so much for considering me. I really need this. I did 3 more showings on December 27th, all good candidates, but none of them could move in immediately. Tarina Hall was perfect. I called her references that afternoon. Her current landlord raved about her. Quiet, clean, always pays rent 5 days early. I'm devastated to lose her. Her supervisor at the hospital said, Tarina is one of the most reliable people I've ever worked with. She's professional, responsible, and kind. You'd be lucky to have her as a tenant. I ran the background check. Clean. No red flags. At 6 p.m. on December 27th, I called her. Tarina, it's Caroline Kyle. I'd like to offer you the apartment. I heard her exhale. Oh my God, thank you. Thank you so much. When can you sign the lease? Whenever you need me to. Tomorrow? Tomorrow works. Let's meet at the apartment at noon. Bring a cashier's check for $9,300. First month, last month, and security deposit. I'll be there. I hung up and sat back in my chair. Done. Judith texted me that night. I'm so excited for Tuesday, I can't sleep. I texted back, me neither. It's going to be a big day. December 29th, noon. I met Tarina at the apartment. She arrived 5 minutes early carrying a folder with all her documents and a cashier's check. We walked through the apartment together. She asked thoughtful questions about the building, parking, utilities, trash pickup, laundry room hours. I answered everything, gave her the building manager's contact information, showed her where the mailboxes were. Then we sat at the kitchen counter, the only surface in the empty apartment, and went through the lease. 20 pages. Standard Washington State residential lease agreement. Tarina read every section carefully, asked clarifying questions, took her time. This all looks good, she said finally. Where do I sign? She signed. I signed. We both initialed every page. She handed me the cashier's check, $9,300. I handed her the keys. Welcome home, I said. She smiled. A genuine, relieved smile. Thank you. You have no idea how much this means to me. I was so stressed about finding a place in time. When are you planning to move in? I can start bringing things over on Monday. I'll have everything moved by Tuesday afternoon. I work Tuesday night, so I want to be settled before my shift. That sounds perfect. We shook hands. She left, clutching the keys like they were made of gold. I sat in the empty apartment for a few minutes after she left. It was done. Legal, binding, ethical. I'd rented my property to a qualified tenant who desperately needed it. And in 3 days, Judith was going to show up expecting to move in. I took a photo of the signed lease, saved it to a folder on my phone labeled 1247 Pine Street. Then I texted Tarina, "Congratulations again. Looking forward to having you as a tenant." She texted back immediately. "Thank you so much for this opportunity. You won't regret choosing me. I'll take excellent care of your property." I believed her. On Monday, December 30th, Judith posted an Instagram story, a photo of her surrounded by moving boxes. Caption, "Moving into my dream apartment tomorrow, downtown, living here I come. New beginnings. Downtown life. I'm blessed." 237 likes. I saw it, didn't comment, didn't like it. I just sent her one final text. "See you tomorrow at 2, can't wait." She responded with 5 heart emojis. I turned off my phone and went to bed early. I wanted to be well rested for Tuesday. Now, before we get to what happened on Tuesday, and trust me, you do not want to miss this, take a second and tell me in the comments, would you have done the same thing? Or would you have confronted them at Christmas dinner? I'm genuinely curious what you would do in Caroline's position. Okay, let's get to Tuesday. Tuesday, December 31st, New Year's Eve, 1 p.m. A moving truck pulled up in front of 1247 Pine Street. Tarina Hall stepped out, followed by 2 professional movers. The building manager met them in the lobby, helped them get access to the elevator. I watched from my car across the street. Furniture started going up. Bed frame, couch, boxes labeled kitchen, boxes labeled bedroom, boxes labeled bathroom. At 1:45, I grabbed the welcome basket I'd put together, local coffee, chocolates, a guide to the neighborhood, and headed inside. Tarina was directing the movers, calm and organized. "Caroline," she said when she saw me, "you didn't have to come. I wanted to make sure everything was going smoothly, and I brought you a little welcome gift." I handed her the basket. She looked genuinely touched. "That's so thoughtful. Thank you." The movers worked efficiently. I stayed to help unpack a few boxes. Tarina and I chatted about the neighborhood, best coffee shops, grocery stores, dry cleaners. At exactly 2 p.m., I heard a commotion in the lobby. Tarina and I both looked toward the door. Voices, loud ones. I checked my watch. Right on time. "Excuse me for a second," I said. I walked to the apartment door and looked down the hallway toward the elevator. The building manager was in the lobby talking to someone I couldn't see yet. Then I heard her voice. "Judith? We're moving into 304. I'm Judith Kyle." I heard the building manager's response. I showed Tarina Hall moved into 304 this morning. Judith laughed. That high-pitched, dismissive laugh she does when she thinks someone made a mistake. No, that's my apartment. My sister owns it, Caroline Kyle. Ms. Kyle's tenant signed a lease last week. Unit 304 is occupied. Silence. Then, that's impossible. Let me go up and talk to my sister. She'll clear this up. I stepped back into the apartment. Everything okay? Tarina asked. Everything's fine, I said. Just a misunderstanding in the lobby. 30 seconds later, the elevator dinged. Footsteps in the hallway. Then Judith appeared in the doorway. She stopped dead. Her eyes went from me to Tarina to the movers carrying in a dresser to the boxes stacked everywhere. Her face went through about 5 different expressions in 3 seconds. Confusion, disbelief, shock, anger, panic. What is this? She said. I smiled warmly. Oh, Judith, you're right on time. Let me introduce you to Tarina Hall. She's my tenant. She moved in this morning. Judith's mouth opened, closed, opened again. What are you talking about? I'm moving in. Mom and Dad said, Mom and Dad don't own this apartment, I said calmly. I do, and I rented it to Tarina last week. She has a signed lease and she's paid through February. You can't do this. Judith's voice was rising. I already gave up my apartment. My stuff is downstairs. I'm sorry you made those arrangements without confirming with me first. I never agreed to let you live here. Michael Runner appeared behind her, looking confused. But you said Tuesday was move-in day. I looked at him. I said Tuesday worked perfectly for move-in day. It did, for my tenant. Judith's eyes filled with tears. You knew I was coming. You told me Tuesday. I told you Tuesday worked for move-in day. I never said your move-in day. This is my family, she shouted. How can you do this to family? Family asks before taking, I said quietly. They don't announce and assume. Judith started crying, full-on sobbing, mascara running down her face. Alicia Hamilton appeared in the doorway, phone in hand. She'd been filming. She looked at Judith, then at me, then awkwardly lowered her phone. Building residents were walking by in the hallway, slowing down to watch. I can't believe you're doing this to me, Judith sobbed. What am I supposed to do? I suppose you'll need to figure that out, I said, just like I've figured out everything in my life, without anyone's help. Judith turned and ran toward the elevator, still crying. Michael and Alicia followed, throwing apologetic looks back at me. The apartment went quiet. Tarina stood there, eyes wide. What just happened? I took a breath. My family assumed they could give away my property without asking me. I disagreed. She nodded slowly. Good for you. I'm sorry you had to witness that. Don't be. That took guts. I smiled. Let's get you settled in. As I helped Tarina unpack, I pulled out my phone and sent myself a text. December 31st, 2:20 p.m. Judith arrived expecting to move in. Informed her apartment is legally rented to Tarina Hall. Lease signed December 29th. Judith left in distress. Documented. My phone started ringing 5 minutes later. My mother. I declined the call. It rang again. Declined. Then my father. Declined. Then Judith. Declined. I turned my phone on silent and helped my tenant make her new apartment a home. Justice, it turns out, feels pretty good. I made it to my car before my phone started ringing. 3 p.m. I was pulling out of the parking garage when I saw my mother's name flash across the screen. I almost didn't answer, but I knew avoiding it would only make things worse. I connected it to Bluetooth and answered. Hello? What have you done? My mother's voice was so loud I actually flinched. She was screaming, full-on screaming. I rented my apartment to a qualified tenant, I said calmly. That's what investment properties are for. You knew she was moving in today. Judith is hysterical. She's been crying for an hour. Michael and Alicia saw everything. Do you have any idea how humiliated she is? I knew she planned to move in, I said. I never agreed to it. No one asked me. We told you at Christmas dinner. You informed me of a decision you'd already made. That's not the same as asking permission." "Permission?" My mother's voice went up an octave. "She's your sister. You don't need permission to help family." "It's my property, Mom. I absolutely need to give permission, and I didn't. This is unbelievable. After everything we've done for you, what have you done for me?" The words came out before I could stop them. Specifically, "What have you done for me?" Silence, then my father's voice. He'd taken the phone. "Caroline, this is unacceptable. Your sister gave up her apartment. She has nowhere to go." "She has your house," I said, "the one you've been paying for her to live separately from for 3 years. Don't be smart with me. We're not going to support this selfishness. You need to fix this." "There's nothing to fix. I have a legal lease with a tenant who's already moved in. She paid first month, last month, and security deposit. She's unpacking right now. This conversation is over." "Caroline." I hung up. My hands were shaking. I pulled over into a parking lot and sat there for a minute, breathing. Then I opened my notes app and typed, January 31st, 3:07 p.m. Mother called screaming about Judith. Father called it unacceptable and demanded I fix this. Told them lease is signed and tenant has moved in. Ended call. I saved it. Started the car. Drove home. The phone rang 6 more times before I got there. I didn't answer. By Wednesday morning, I had 37 text messages. I read every single one, responded to none. From Mother, 4:17 p.m. Tuesday. Judith is sleeping on our couch crying. I hope you're happy. From Father, 4:23 p.m. Tuesday, you've always been jealous of your sister. This proves it. From Judith, 5:02 p.m. Tuesday. I can't believe you did this to me. I had to tell everyone I'm not moving. Do you know how embarrassing that is? My Instagram followers are asking questions. You ruined my life. From Judith, 5:15 p.m. Tuesday. I gave up my apartment because of you. From Judith, 5:47 p.m. Tuesday. Mom and Dad are so disappointed in you. From Judith, 6:23 p.m. Tuesday. I hope you're proud of yourself. From Michael Runner, 7:34 p.m. Tuesday. That was really messed up what you did. Judith is devastated. I thought you were better than this. From a family friend, 8:12 p.m. Tuesday. Your mother called me. She's heartbroken. I can't believe you'd treat family this way. Judith needed your help. From Judith, 9:45 p.m. Tuesday. I hate you. From Mother, 10:03 p.m. Tuesday. Your father and I are ashamed to call you our daughter. I kept reading. Message after message. Variations on the same theme. I was selfish. I was cruel. I was jealous. I had ruined Judith's life. I had destroyed the family. After Judith's 15th message, this one calling me a string of names I won't repeat, I blocked her number. I silenced my parents' numbers but didn't block them. I wanted a record of everything they sent. On Wednesday morning, Judith posted an Instagram story. A black screen with white text. When people disappoint you, family first, heartbroken. I screenshotted it. Added it to my folder. I didn't respond to any of the messages. Not one. There was nothing to say. Friday, January 3rd. I got home from work to find a letter in my mailbox. Thick envelope. My parents' return address. Formal. I opened it standing in my kitchen. The letter was typed on my father's law firm letterhead. Official. Intimidating. I read it twice. Donald and Tarina Kyle. January 2nd. Dear Carolyn, we are writing to express our deep disappointment in your recent behavior. Your actions on December 31st have caused significant harm to your sister and to this family. Judith has been forced to move back into our home after giving up her apartment, based on the understanding, communicated clearly at Christmas dinner, that she would be moving into your investment property. Your decision to rent the apartment to a stranger instead has left her without housing and deeply humiliated. We are giving you 1 week to reconsider your decision. You must terminate the lease with your current tenant and provide the apartment to Judith as originally agreed. We understand this may involve financial costs, which we expect you to absorb as a consequence of your poor judgment. If you do not comply by January 10th, we will have no choice but to sever our relationship with you. You will not be welcome at family events. You will be removed from our will. We will no longer consider you part of this family. The choice is yours. You have until January 10th to do the right thing. Sincerely, Donald and Tarina Kyle notarized, signed by both of them. I read it again. Felt a brief flash of doubt. They're really doing this. They're really choosing this. Then anger. They're trying to legally intimidate me, using letterhead, a notary, making it official. Then clarity. This is who they've always been. I just finally stopped making excuses for them. I walked out to my back porch, lit the fire pit, took the letter, well, a copy of it, I kept the original, and held it over the flames, watched it burn, pulled out my phone and recorded the whole thing, saved the video with a date stamp. Then I went inside, poured a glass of wine, and didn't think about it again. Friday, January 10th, 6 p.m. I knew the call was coming. I'd been preparing for it all day. When my phone rang at exactly 6 o'clock, I wasn't surprised. I answered, put it on speaker, started a voice memo recording. Washington is a one-party consent state. I only need my own permission to record. Hello, Dad. Caroline. His voice was cold, formal. Your week is up. What have you decided? I haven't decided anything. There's nothing to decide. My apartment is rented. So you're choosing to end this family? No, Dad. You're choosing to end it. You're giving me an ultimatum. Give up my property rights or lose my family. That's your choice, not mine. We raised you. We gave you everything. Something inside me snapped. You were legally required to raise me, and you gave me nothing after I turned 18. I paid for my own college, my own car, my own housing, both of my properties. Everything I have, I earned. You gave Judith everything. You gave me expectations. How can you say that? My mother's voice now. She was on speaker, too. We loved you. Love isn't conditional, Mom. What you're offering is compliance in exchange for acceptance. That's not love, that's control. You're breaking my heart. She was crying. You broke mine years ago. I just stopped expecting you to fix it. My father's voice came back, hard, final. Then this is goodbye. Don't contact us again. You're not our daughter anymore. I took a breath. If that's what you need to do, I understand. But I'm not giving up my property, my tenant's home, or my self-respect. Not for you, not for anyone. You'll regret this. I don't think I will. Silence. 5 seconds that felt like 5 minutes. Then the line went dead. I sat there holding my phone, staring at the screen. Waited for the sadness to hit. It didn't come. Waited for the regret. Nothing. Just relief and peace. I opened my journal and wrote, "They chose an apartment over a relationship with me. I chose self-respect over their approval. I made the right choice." I closed the journal, and for the first time in my entire life, I felt free, lighter. I lay in bed for a minute, trying to figure out what had changed. Then I realized I wasn't anxious. For the first time in months, maybe years, I wasn't waking up with that tight feeling in my chest, that sense of dread. I got up, made coffee, checked my phone, no messages from my family, and I didn't feel the urge to check if they'd tried to contact me. I went to the gym that morning, first time in 3 months. I'd been too stressed, too tired, too overwhelmed. But that morning, I went. Ran on the treadmill for 30 minutes. Felt strong. That weekend, I met my friend Sarah for coffee. We'd been trying to schedule it for weeks, but I kept canceling. Too much going on, too much drama. But this time, I actually enjoyed it. Laughed. Talked about normal things. Didn't feel the weight of family dysfunction pressing down on me. "You seem different," Sarah said. "Good different." "I feel different," I said. At work, my boss pulled me aside. "I don't know what's changed, Caroline, but keep it up. You seem more focused, more present. It's good to see. I hadn't realized how much the family stress had been affecting my performance, but apparently everyone else had noticed. On February 1st, I got a text from Tarina Hall. "Rent paid for February. I love this place so much. Thank you again for giving me this opportunity." I smiled. Good tenants appreciate what entitled family members take for granted. My life started improving in small, measurable ways. I was sleeping better. No more stress dreams about family confrontations. I was eating better, not stress-eating junk food or skipping meals because I was too anxious. My social life improved. I started accepting invitations I used to decline. The apartment was generating $1,100 in positive cash flow every month. I used the extra income to pay down the mortgage principal faster. Everything was working exactly as I'd planned. Better, actually. Because I'd also removed the biggest source of stress from my life. I heard through a mutual friend in late February that Judith was still living with my parents. "She's not doing well," the friend said carefully. "Your mom is struggling." I didn't ask for details, but they came anyway. Judith's Instagram activity had dropped off significantly. She used to post daily. Now it was once or twice a week. The posts had changed too. Less aspirational, more defensive. Taking time to focus on myself. Real ones know my worth. Not everyone is meant to understand your journey. Her follower count dropped from 4,000 to 3,200. People can sense inauthenticity. They were losing interest. According to the mutual friend, my parents were fighting with Judith about getting a job. She'd applied to 3 positions, got no callbacks. Turns out, 27 years old with no degree and no work history doesn't look great on a resume. "Your mom called me," another friend texted in March. "She asked if my company is hiring. She wants me to give Judith an interview. I said no. Just thought you should know they're getting desperate." I didn't respond. Just saved the text. In late February, I ran into Judith at the grocery store. I was in the produce section picking out apples when I looked up and saw her 2 aisles over. She looked tired. No makeup. Hair in a messy bun, sweatpants and an oversized hoodie. Our eyes met. For a second, neither of us moved. Then she quickly turned and walked down a different aisle. I stood there for a moment, waiting to feel something. Satisfaction? Guilt? Anger? Nothing came. Just indifference. I continued shopping, bought my groceries, went home, and I realized I'd truly moved on. She wasn't my problem anymore. She never should have been. March 15th. My boss called me into her office. "Caroline, I'm offering you a promotion. Senior Director of Marketing. $20,000 raise. You've earned it." I stared at her. Thank you. Thank you. "You've been doing the work of a senior director for months. It's time we made it official. Congratulations." $132,000 a year. I walked out of that office feeling like I was floating. That same week, I met Donald Keeler at a work networking event. He was an architect, thoughtful, kind, easy to talk to. We got coffee, then dinner, then another dinner. On our 3rd date, I told him about my family situation, the whole story. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he said, "Boundaries are healthy. Anyone who punishes you for having them isn't safe." I felt something shift in my chest. "Thank you," I said. I needed to hear that. Tarina Hall and I started meeting for coffee once a month. Landlord-tenant relationship evolved into genuine friendship. She told me about her own family, her own struggles with boundaries. "It's hard," she said, "but you did the right thing. You can't set yourself on fire to keep other people warm." The extra rent income plus my raise meant I could max out my retirement contributions and start saving aggressively for a 3rd property. I started therapy in March, not because I was broken, but because I wanted to process everything and grow. My therapist validated everything I'd done. "You set a boundary. They chose not to respect it. That's on them, not you." I started running 3 times a week, lost the stress weight I'd been carrying, felt strong and healthy. I joined a book club. Started volunteering at a food bank on weekends. I was building a life I actually wanted, not one dictated by obligation or guilt. One Saturday morning in April, I sat on my porch with a cup of coffee. The sun was shining. Donald was coming over later. Book club that evening. Tarina's rent payment had just cleared. Work was going well. And I realized something. I was happy. Not performing happiness for social media, not distracting myself from unhappiness, actually genuinely, deeply content. For the first time in my life, I'd chosen myself, and it turned out I was worth choosing. If you're watching this and you've ever had to choose between your peace and someone else's comfort, even family, drop a word in the comments. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away. Now, you might think the story ends here with Caroline living her best life, but you'd be wrong, because my mother made one more move that changed everything. Late April. I was at work when my phone buzzed, my former college roommate, Jessica. Did you see what your mom posted? I frowned. No, I blocked my parents on social media months ago. You need to see this. I'm sending screenshots. 3 images came through. My mother's Facebook post, public, not friends only. I read it standing in the hallway outside my office. Tarina Kyle heartbroken doesn't even begin to describe it. When you raise a child and give them everything, you never imagine they'll turn their back on family. Our youngest is struggling, and her sister, who's been so blessed financially, refused to help. She chose money over family. She chose cruelty over compassion. I don't recognize the person she's become. Praying for her heart to soften. 83 likes, 47 comments. I scrolled through them. I'm so sorry, Tarina. Praying for you. Some people forget where they came from. Money changes people. It's so sad. A few questioned. There's always 2 sides to every story. And my mother responding, adding details. She has multiple properties but won't let her sister live in one. We raised her better than this. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. Public betrayal, lies, manipulation. My hands were shaking. I walked back to my office, closed the door, and sat down. Called Donald. She posted about it publicly, I said. She's lying, making me look like a monster. What do you want to do? He asked. I don't know. Part of me wants to ignore it. But she's controlling the narrative. People believe her. Then tell the truth. I called Tarina Hall next, my tenant, my friend. What would you do? I asked. I'd tell the truth, she said. You don't owe anyone silence when they're publicly lying about you. I hung up, opened my laptop, and started writing. I spent 3 hours on it. I didn't comment on my mother's post. I created my own, on my own Facebook page. I usually kept my profile private, but I made this post public. I wrote carefully, factually, without bitterness. Caroline Kyle. I don't usually air family matters publicly, but when someone publicly misrepresents a situation, the truth deserves space too. I've worked since I was 15 years old. I put myself through college while working 30 hours a week. I saved for 6 years to buy my first property. I saved for another 6 years to buy my second. At Christmas dinner this year, my sister announced she was moving into my newly purchased investment property. My parents had told her she could. No one asked me. I own the property. I bought it with money I saved over 12 years. I had already rented the apartment to a qualified tenant who signed a lease and paid deposits totaling $9,300. When my sister arrived to move in on December 31st, she discovered the apartment was occupied. My parents gave me an ultimatum: break the lease and give my sister the apartment, or be removed from the family. I chose to honor my legal commitment to my tenant and maintain my boundaries. This isn't about money. It's about respect. It's about not being expected to hand over property I worked 16 years to afford. It's about family members asking instead of taking. I love my family, but I will not be manipulated into giving up what I've earned. If that makes me cruel in their eyes, I can live with that. I included dates, dollar amounts, timeline. I kept the tone calm, factual, Not angry. I posted it at 9 p.m. Then I turned off my phone and went to bed. The next morning, I woke up to 213 notifications. My post had been shared 147 times, 321 comments. I scrolled through them. You did the right thing. Your family should be proud of you, not punishing you. This is financial abuse and manipulation. Setting boundaries is healthy. Good for you. Dozens of people shared their own similar stories. Family members who expected them to sacrifice, parents who played favorites. Former family friends were commenting. I always wondered about the favoritism between the girls. Caroline was always so independent. Now I understand why. I checked my mother's profile through a friend's account. Her post was deleted. She'd blocked me on all platforms. The following week, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered cautiously. Caroline? It's your Aunt Linda. My father's sister. I hadn't spoken to her in over a year. Hi, Aunt Linda. I read your post. I had no idea it was that bad. Your father called me last week trying to get me to pressure you. I told him I wouldn't. What you wrote made sense. I exhaled. Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't ask for your side sooner. I should have known better. 2 days later, Alicia Hamilton messaged me, Judith's friend, the one who'd been filming at the apartment. I was there that day. I saw the whole thing. You're right. No one asked you. I felt uncomfortable even then. I'm sorry I didn't say anything. My cousin messaged. My mom told me what really happened. I'm sorry we believed their version without hearing yours. Apparently, my parents' social circle was asking questions. My father's law partner's wife commented on my post, "Boundaries are not betrayal. Well said." Judith posted a vague Instagram story, "When the truth comes out." Just an eye roll emoji, defensive, no details. My mother stopped posting on social media entirely. My father's sister stopped attending their family events. The narrative had shifted, and for the first time, people were seeing the truth. Mid-May, 6 weeks after my public post, my phone rang, unknown number. I answered. Caroline, it's Mom. I got a new number. Please don't hang up. I stayed silent, listening. Her voice was different, quieter, less confident. I've been thinking about everything, about what you wrote. Your aunt called me. She said some things that were hard to hear. What things? I asked. That we've treated you and Judith differently, that we expected you to just give things up because you're more capable. That's accurate. I want to fix this. Can we meet for coffee? What do you want to fix? Our relationship. I miss you. I paused. Do you miss me? Or do you miss the version of me that didn't say no? Long silence. That's not fair, she said. It's a genuine question. Because if you want a relationship with me, it has to be one where I'm allowed to have boundaries, where my property is mine, where I'm not expected to sacrifice for Judith's comfort. I understand that now. Do you? Because 6 weeks ago, you publicly called me cruel for having boundaries. She started crying. I was hurt. I was angry. I didn't know how to handle Judith's situation. Judith's situation is not my responsibility. It never was. I know. I'm starting to see that. I took a breath. I'll meet you for coffee, but on my terms. Public place, 1 hour limit, no promises. Okay, thank you. After we hung up, I texted Donald. My mother called. We're meeting next week. I'm not sure what to expect, but I'm going in with clear boundaries. Late May. A coffee shop in a neutral neighborhood. My mother arrived on time. She looked older, tired. We hugged awkwardly, sat down, ordered coffee. Thank you for meeting me, she said. I'm here to listen. But I need you to understand, I'm not apologizing for anything I did. I'm not asking you to. I'm here to apologize. I was surprised. Okay. We did treat you differently. We expected you to be independent because you were good at it. We babied Judith because she struggled. We thought we were helping her. We didn't see that we were hurting you both. How were you hurting Judith? We made her helpless. She's 27 and can't do anything on her own. That's our fault. What's changed? We told her she has to get a job. We're not paying her rent anymore. She has 3 months to find work and move out. How's that going? Terribly. She's furious with us. But your aunt said something that stuck with me. She said, "You're not helping Judith by preventing her from growing up. You're crippling her." Your sister is right. I know. I'm trying to fix it. It's hard. It should have been hard 16 years ago, not now. She flinched but nodded. I leaned forward. If you want a relationship with me, here are my terms. You respect my boundaries. You don't ask me to help Judith financially or with housing. You treat us equally, which means expecting the same from both of us. And you never, ever publicly attack me again. I can do that. Can you? Or will you try and then resent me when it's hard? I don't know, but I want to try. I nodded slowly. Then we can try. Slowly. But if you violate my boundaries again, I'm done. Permanently. I understand. That night, I wrote in my journal. She apologized. It wasn't perfect. She's not fully there yet. But it's a start. I'm willing to see if she means it. June, July, August, my mother and I met for coffee once a month. The conversations were careful at first. Surface level, weather, work, her garden. She didn't ask about Judith. Slowly, we started talking about real things. My relationship with Donald, her book club, my promotion at work. My father didn't reach out, still too proud. In July, my mother told me Judith had gotten a job, retail. She'd moved into a shared apartment with a roommate. She's learning, my mother said. It's hard for her, but she's doing it. I felt no obligation to help, no guilt about it. Judith never contacted me. I was fine with that. The relationship with my mother remained distant but civil, not close, but not hostile. I accepted this as the realistic outcome. In August, my mother sent me a text. "Thank you for giving me another chance. I know I don't deserve it." I didn't respond right away. I thought about it. Then I wrote back, "We're building something new. It won't be what we had before. It'll be different, maybe better, maybe just honest." She replied, "I'll take honest." December, Christmas Eve. 1 year after the Christmas dinner that changed everything. I was in my condo decorating a small tree. Donald was helping. We were moving in together next month. Tarina Hall had renewed her lease for a 2nd year. She'd sent me a holiday card. "Thank you for giving me a home. You changed my life." My career had taken off. I'd been promoted again in October, VP of Marketing. Salary $155,000 a year. The investment property had generated $13,200 in profit over the year. I'd used it to pay down the principal. I was already looking at a 3rd property. My relationship with my mother was still careful, still distant but genuine. We met monthly. We talked honestly. My father had sent a brief email in November. "I'm not ready to talk, but I'm glad you and your mother are speaking." It wasn't much, but it was something. Judith was still working retail, still in her shared apartment. She'd posted an Instagram photo last week with the caption, "1 year of growth." I'd seen it, felt nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, just indifference. I looked around my home, decorated how I wanted, filled with people I chose, a life I built entirely on my own terms. I wasn't angry anymore, not at my parents, not at Judith. I was just free. That evening, I hosted a small gathering. Donald, Tarina Hall, my Aunt Linda and my cousin, Alicia Hamilton, 3 friends from work, not a big party, intimate. Intentional. Everyone there had chosen to be there, chosen me. The conversation flowed easily. Laughter was genuine. Someone asked, "Are you spending Christmas with your family tomorrow?" I smiled. "I am. This is my family." Tarina raised her glass. To Caroline. For being the best landlord and friend anyone could ask for. My aunt added, "And for teaching all of us what healthy boundaries look like." Donald smiled at me. "To the strongest person I know." They toasted. I felt overwhelming gratitude, not for what I had materially, but for the peace I'd found. Later, I stepped onto my balcony for air. The Seattle skyline stretched out before me, lights twinkling, cold air sharp and clean. I thought back to Christmas Eve 1 year ago, the announcement, the shock, the plan forming in my mind. I thought about Tuesday, Judith's face, the confrontation, the phone calls, the ultimatum, the burning letter, the public battle, the truth-telling, the slow rebuilding. Would I do it again? Without hesitation, yes. I stood there on the balcony, alone with my thoughts. People ask if I regret it, if I wish I'd just let Judith move in to keep the peace, but there was no peace to keep. There was only silence. And silence isn't peace. It's surrender. I didn't choose property over family. I chose self-respect over manipulation. I chose boundaries over resentment. I chose honesty over performance. And yes, it cost me. It cost me a relationship with my father. It cost me the fantasy of a close family. It cost me the approval I'd been chasing for 31 years. But what I gained was worth infinitely more. I gained peace, real peace. The kind that comes from knowing you stood up for yourself when it mattered. I gained clarity about who I am and what I deserve. I gained relationships built on mutual respect instead of obligation. I gained the knowledge that I can trust myself to protect myself. Judith is learning to stand on her own, slowly, painfully, but she's learning. My mother is learning that love without respect is just control. And I learned that the most powerful thing you can do is refuse to betray yourself for someone else's comfort. Even family, especially family, because family isn't supposed to cost you your peace. And if it does, it's not family. It's just people you're related to. I chose peace. I chose myself. And I would do it again, every single time. The door opened behind me. Donald stepped out. "You okay?" he asked. I turned to him, smiled. "I'm better than okay. I'm free." No regrets? Not a single one. For the first time in my life, I chose myself. And it turns out, I was worth choosing. He put his arm around me. We stood there for a moment, looking out at the city. Then I turned and walked back inside, back to my chosen family, back to the life I built. I closed the door on the past and stepped fully into the future.